This is Pep Watson, Crime and Justice TV, episode 2, on location here at Stratford City, East London. I had a great location just over on the bridge there, but it started to rain, so I had to move sort of back a bit, and it's quite windy as well, so I just wanted to get, sort of out the wind, so I could begin shooting this episode 2. So yeah, I've been up early. I was up at 7, coffee, shower, shave, clean, ready, up early to attack the day before the day attacks me. Successful people don't lay in bed all day, they're up early. I think routine and structure in recovery is very, very important. So yeah, I haven't got the perfect routine, but I try my best to get up early, get prepared for the day, and up and out the door before the day attacks me. So I've travelled here to Stratford City today. I'm actually playing table tennis later with my friend Karamba. So I thought I'd shoot down here this morning. So yeah, I've had a busy week. I've been up to Norwich to visit my mother and my friend Kerry and her 3 children, Ria, Warren and Demi. It's nice to be in London, to be closer to my mum and my friends, where before I was stuck down there in Bournemouth. It was, a long journey, 5-6 hours. Excuse me. So yeah, I spent some quality time with my mum, quality time with the children, just enjoyed my time away. It was really nice, had some nice food, had some relaxing time, spent time with the children, it was just amazing. And I'm just really grateful and blessed for the time that I have with my mum. My mother gave me the gift of life, so I embrace the time that I have with my mother. Whatever happens with your mum, you only get one, and when they're gone, more often than not, you're going to dreadfully miss them. So I embrace every moment that I have with my mum. She's my best friend, and I just make the most of all the time that I get to spend with her. Some people don't have their mothers around. My mum lost her mum when her mum was young to cancer, when she was like 50 years old, I think 51. That had a horrendous impact on my family units, on my father, on my brother, on myself, on my mum. Not everybody's mum is around, so I make the most of my time with my mum. And it was a guy who I was in Wayland with when I did therapy on the rap programme on G-Wing 2010. I'm trying to remember his name now. Dennis, that was his name, Dennis. And he was talking in the group about losing his mother, and he was really sad and grieving, and it was very painful for him to talk about it. And he said to me, make sure you treat your mother like your wife, because when she's gone, you're going to really, really miss her. She's the most important woman in your life. And I'll never forget that. That's what he told me, and ever since then. It was after then that I sent my mother a card saying thank you for the gift of life. And yeah, Dennis taught me to value the relationship with my mum, and so that's what I do now. On the way back, I got on the wrong train, ended up in the country somewhere in Thetford, and then the ticket inspector tried to charge me £60. I was really upset. But in recovery, it's about getting into the solution quickly, not dwelling on things and moving on to the next challenge in life. So just just looking after myself, practicing self-love, getting up early, eating well, sleeping well. When these challenges come, I can deal with them quickly, efficiently, get into the solution and move on to the next challenge. So I had a bit of extra time on the train, done a bit of studying, made use of the time, had to go back to Norwich. And then actually the lady at Norwich did the ticket for free anyway, so I arrived back in London 2 hours late. But I made use of the time, flipped it into a positive, and it didn't end up costing me anything extra anyway. So yeah, you just got to have faith in them moments. Everything happens for a reason. Life is what happens while you're planning your life, yeah? You never know what's around the corner. You never know what challenges are going to be put in your path. And at the same time, you know, my experience is the best things happen at life when you least expect them. You never know what's around the corner can be a positive thing as well. And when the best things happen in life, in my experience, you know, it's always the last thing on my mind that this thing was going to happen, you know. So you just keep moving forward, putting one step in front of the other. Keep moving forward, keep taking care of yourself. And when we have these good days, like I've had this week, it kind of makes the bad days worth it. It kind of levels it out. And we can only have good days because we have bad days. And when the good days are bad and things are dark, you know, when you have these bad days and things are really, really dark, later on, if you persevere through it and just keep getting up and keep fighting, then when you have a good day, it's beautiful, it's amazing. Suffering and pain can lead to success. The world is full of people who have suffered immeasurable pain and darkness and then have gone on to achieve amazing things and incredible work and incredible success. Just behind me is the Olympic Stadium, where at the London Olympics a few years ago, para-Olympians from all over the world came here and achieved the stuff of dreams. You know, people who had suffered adversity for years and years and years, people without legs, people without arms, war veterans, people who'd had disabilities their whole lives and struggled their whole lives, and then came to this stadium in London and won gold medals and silver medals and bronze medals and achieved dreams, and tears of joy rolled down their faces and tears of joy rolled down their families' faces, and they inspired a generation of children. They inspired a generation of people who have suffered, and they inspired them that, you know, dreams can come true. Dreams can keep you going through the dark times. And on Crime and Justice TV soon, I'm going to be showcasing my Project 2021 Mount Kilimanjaro project, which is going to be a project when I finish my degree in 2021. A 4-man team, myself and 3 others, scaling the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro. I'm going to do this project to raise awareness for prison suicides and the deaths in custody that just keep mounting up and mounting up. This ocean of blood and mass immeasurable human suffering that we're seeing in the prison estate in the United Kingdom, and nobody is listening. Nobody is listening. And it's just unforgivable for the 5th richest country in the world. Nobody is listening, nobody cares. and the manner in which these vulnerable people with learning difficulties, with autism, Asperger's, dyslexia, speech impediments, deafness, poor mental health, the manner in which these vulnerable children and vulnerable young men and women are dying, it's like something out of a horror show. So I'm going to embark on this Project 2021 project to raise awareness of these issues in the United Kingdom, and I want to do so as well to inspire those that suffer and those who face injustice and discrimination, that anything is possible and dreams can come true. And I'm going to scale that mountain, and I'm going to prepare and plan and organize and train, and I'm going to reach the summit. I'm going to get up there. I'm going to scale the summit, whatever it takes, to raise awareness for these issues. And I'll be broadcasting this project on Crime and Justice TV, so stay tuned for it. I'm going to be, I'll film all sorts. I'll film the training. I'm going to be doing a showcase video on CJTV very soon, just to explain to everybody what the project is about. So I'll be sharing this project with all my subscribers. So it's something to look forward to for the near future and over the next couple of years. So I'm going to read you all something which is from a polemic that I wrote when I was in prison in HMP Winchester, subject to IPP recall. Writing gave me freedom. Writing gave me the ability to be free from my despair and darkness and hopelessness, subject to that horrendous, barbaric IPP sentence with no release date. And all the IPPs around me in that prison were cutting up, cutting their throats, cutting their wrists, smoking spice to escape the despair and hopelessness, and being sectioned to high secure hospitals. And unfortunately not everybody can write, so I feel blessed that I was able to write to escape from my pain and suffering. So what I'm going to read is for anybody who's suffering, not just people who are in prison or IPP prisoners, but anybody who is suffering at the moment and anywhere in the world with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, depression, sexual abuse victims, anxiety, bereavement, mental health, autism, learning difficulties, addiction, any kind of addiction, sex addiction, shopping addiction, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, any kind of pain, darkness, discrimination, persecution, racism, injustice. So I'm going to read you a couple of extracts. In your darkest moments and in your suffering, in your delirium when withdrawing from drugs, in the nighttime when you cry alone, when your razor blade wounds are sore, when your insomnia dominates your every waking moment, when your pain and suffering are unbearable, when your death is near 10,000 times, when death is becoming your best friend, read and reread the following. Pray for courage, and may you be delivered from your suffering to live a life beyond your wildest dreams. Genius is perseverance, and there is genius in all of us. They can take nothing more from you, only add to you. Whilst you live and breathe, your dreams can never be taken, not even when resident in the coldest, darkest place. Columbus dreamed of an unknown world, staked his life on the existence of such a world, and discovered it. John Bunyan wrote The Pilgrim Progress, which is among the finest of all English literature, after he had been confined in prison and sorely punished because of his views on religion. Men will suffer and suffer prior to discovering the infinite intelligence within their brains. Edison, the world's greatest inventor and scientist, was a tramp telegraph operator. He failed innumerable times before he was driven finally to the discovery of the genius which slept within his brain. Charles Dickens began by publishing labels on blacking pots. The tragedy of his first love penetrates the depth of his soul and converts him into one of the world's greatest authors. That tragedy produced first David Copperfield, then a succession of other works that made this a richer and better world for all who read his books. Helen Keller became deaf and dumb and blind shortly after birth. Despite her greatest misfortune, she has written her name in the pages of the history of the great. Her entire life has served as evidence that no one is ever defeated until defeat has been accepted as a reality. Robert Burns was an illiterate country lad. He was cursed by poverty and grew up to be a drunkard in the bargain. The world was made better for his having lived because he clothed beautiful thoughts in poetry and thereby plucked a thorn and planted a rose in its place. Booker T. Washington was born in slavery, handicapped by race and colour. Because he was tolerant, he had an open mind at all times on all subjects and was a dreamer. He left his impress for good on an entire race. Beethoven was deaf. Milton was blind, but their names will last as long as time endures because they dreamed. Copernicus, the great astronomer, dreamed of a multiplicity of worlds and revealed them. The world worshipped at his shrine, thus proving that success requires no apologies, failure permits no alibis. Henry Ford, poor and uneducated, dreamed of a horseless carriage, went to work with what tools he possessed without waiting for opportunity to favour him, and now evidence of his dream belts the entire earth. He has put more wheels into operation than any man who ever lived. Thomas Edison dreamed of a lamp that could be operated by electricity, begun where he stood to put his dream into action, and despite more than 10,000 failures, he stood by that dream until he made it a physical reality. The Wright brothers dreamed of a machine that would fly through the air. Now one may see evidence all over the world that they dreamed soundly. Lincoln dreamed of freedom for the black slaves, put his dream into action and barely missed living to see a united North and South translate his dream into reality. On the 6th of February 2018, billionaire Elon Musk successfully launched his Falcon Heavy rocket into orbit and dreamed of a colony on Mars. This was at the same time as announcing a $675.4 million loss in the previous quarter for his Tesla company. Ever the dreamer, Musk still dreams of a colony on Mars. So you see, suffering, immeasurable pain and suffering can lead to the most incredible work and incredible achievements and incredible success. And that's the message of episode 2, Reflections, here today at Stratford City in East London. From me, Pep Watson, Crime and Justice TV. I wish you all good health, prosperity and joyous moments, and may light be shined into your darkness, and may you love by recognizing yourself in others.